The third reason why you should consider Lifestem Academy, there is no indoctrination. There is no wokeness here. We teach the truth. We encourage students to think critically. We're willing to face ideas that are different from what we might be teaching and then have a debate and show where we're coming from. We're willing to have dialogue, kind of like how Oxford was back in the day, right? Dialogue, and I'm sure it's still mostly that way in some departments, but I'm just giving an example. Think about life in 1100 or 1200 when Oxford University was starting, right? And then Cambridge came shortly after. Oxford, it's kind of tricky to know exactly when it started just because back then we have these people who are traveling from place to place, and that was sort of, they set up camp and some learning happens, and that was a little bit about how their education was happening. And then eventually Oxford became this thing, right? And then in around 1200, we have people that have moved over to Cambridge. Cambridge is about 2 hours north of Oxford. We visited Oxford, Cambridge for our student, with our students, which is another reason to think about Lifestem Academy because we love going on international trips. Next year it's Germany, Switzerland, Austria. But the point is Oxford and Cambridge, right? Oxford started, Cambridge started, and then of course all these other universities. What was the point of the university? Let's ask that question because our universities today have lost their way. A lot of our universities really, what it should be called is indoctrination centers. That's what it should say in the title. So I'm not saying every department and everyone, but you can look at the research. Here's an assignment for you. Look at the research on English departments in American universities. Just look it up. What's the bent of English universities in American colleges? And just look at the trend of English, right? Look at the trend of history. And then we wonder why our children become Roman citizens, or some children become Roman citizens, but you send them to Caesar. What do you expect, right? So please, let's have our children max out on CLEP testing while they're surrounded by truth. No time for things that will waste their mental capacity or distract them from what ultimately is true. The Bible is our guide. Every child can go as far as they want in any field of study that they want at Lifestem Academy. Number 3, no indoctrination, but truth is taught. Somebody would say, oh, you're brainwashing the kids. You know what's funny? Everybody brainwashes somebody else in a sense. Question is, what are you brainwashing them with? We're brainwashing them, quote unquote, with truth. What are you brainwashing people with? Are you brainwashing them with things that will destroy their lives? Because bad ideologies will actually lead to terrible, it can affect your life. It leads to a terrible lifestyle. Number 4, why should you consider Lifestem Academy?